Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, the good old WTD question mark here on my channel, the longest running segment on this YouTube channel, dating all the way back to 2016. My very first video ever was What's the Damage, and all these years later, it's still going strong, and this is a place for me to unleash my anger, especially for these motorcycle bastards in the background and every single goddamn video. Now, it's like a streak, man. It's like they do it on purpose, so it's gonna put me in a very adequate bad mood to talk about today's topic, which is something that might be a little controversial. Some people might agree with me, some might disagree, but this is just my opinion. This is why I do YouTube, to get my opinions out here and see what you guys are gonna think about them, so let me know in the comments below what you think, what your personal opinions are, Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the most popular websites on the planet, which is, of course, good old Wikipedia, okay, which is the world's biggest online encyclopedia where everybody can contribute, and that's actually what's been going on for all these years, It's a community of very, very talented people, working there, and it gets a lot of hate because anybody can edit it, but it doesn't mean that everybody does edit it, It has right now 293,351 active editors right now, so that is a lot of people working to keep the system going with new information, and trying to update it as much as they can. I have seen a lot of people, editing things in real time, and oh my god, the wind is gonna blow my stuff out of the damn into my house here, And there are also right now over 100 million active registered users, so a lot of people use it. A lot of people can edit it. It's very open, and the thing with Wikipedia is that it is, as of 2022, it is the 7th most popular website on the planet today, A lot of people use it, and it has had a very strong effect on the internet. I actually use Wikipedia a lot in my research for YouTube videos, or just for fun when I want to do stuff, when I want to look something up that I'm actually interested on, or doing some miscellaneous work. I pretty much use Wikipedia for all of my information gathering because it is very useful and has a lot of very, very detailed information that helps a lot of people to conduct their research, And it is hosted by the Wikimedia Foundation, which is an American non-profit organization funded mainly through donations. Wikipedia has the habit of asking for donations a lot now, which is understandable. They do kind of like live off of just internet traffic alone with ads sometimes. I do think they do run ads at some point, but they do ask for a lot of donations, which is justified. I sometimes feel bad for ignoring them because maybe I should donate a couple of bucks every now and again, but the problem is that they just keep asking way too much. They keep begging for donations, but anyway, it is a very popular website, with 327 different languages, to spread their articles. And of course, the most popular one being English, with over 1 million articles just in that language alone. And I really enjoy using Wikipedia, and it's actually funny because to do research for this video and come up with a script, I actually went to the Wikipedia page. I went on Wikipedia and looked up Wikipedia, and it's kind of how they have a self-referencing thing there, talking about their history and stuff, which I think is really cool. And it's nice. It is still currently active right now. It is a very, very highly trafficked website, if I can say that, because a lot of people do access it every day, and hopefully they have been making donations to keep the website active. I'm going to be talking about today a little bit about the hate that Wikipedia garners for being so open and that anybody can edit, and I'm going to explain why I think this is very, very unfair. Now, Wikipedia was officially launched onto the internet on January 15th, 2001, a few days after they registered their internet domains, which was www.wikipedia.com and www.wikipedia.org, which is essentially where they would redirect traffic towards them, The internet domains work how .com represents a commercial website and .org is an organizational website, and that is kind of what Wikipedia is, They are essentially a non-profit organization, and at first there were just a few articles, but they started to expand very quickly, and giving more and more information. And as the years went by, they started to hire new translators and editors so they could have different articles in several different languages. Of course, English, that, like I said before, is still the most popular, and recently they published their 6 millionth article in English. So right now there are over 6 million articles in that language alone. because there's always new information, always new articles to be added, and older ones are being updated, you know. And it's actually funny because anybody can go and edit a Wikipedia article. It is free to edit, but I think that because of this, people think that it's a non-reliable source of information, which is obviously not the case, you know. And why does the sunlight have to go away now while I'm recording, man? Why can't it just wait till I'm done? The lighting is gonna look a little crappy for a few minutes here, guys, so just bear with me, okay? And the thing is that Wikipedia to me is a very, very useful tool when you want to do research for literally anything that you need in the world. Back when I was still in high school and even in college, I actually used Wikipedia a lot to do my book reports, you know, or even sort of like my mock-up thesis papers, you know. So everything that I needed to study, I mostly used Wikipedia, unless of course, but this is very rare, unless of course I couldn't find the proper information there that I needed, and because of that I had to go elsewhere. But dude, it's literally a free library that you can use and check out information without paying a single cent, you know. All you need is a decent internet connection. So, and Wikipedia is useful on tablets, phones, computers, you know. So it to me is a very, very underrated source of information that actually should be appreciated much more than it is, you know, because people think that just because anybody can edit it, that anybody does edit it, you know. There are articles that are very, very detailed, and you can see that they are clearly put together by professionals who know what the hell they're talking about, you know. It's not just like, you know, somebody just goes there and writes whatever they want all willy-nilly, you know. That's not how it works, man. This is a very, very serious and well put together website that has helped humanity for many years now, and in my opinion, it is actually a very good reference for information. And if you feel like Wikipedia isn't trustworthy just because you can go there and edit it, then honestly, you're just stupid, man. You know, you are throwing away a very, very reliable and safeguarded source of information that can actually help you in your time of need, you know. So to me, Wikipedia will always be the best, you know. But of course, there are a few controversial matters here to take into consideration as well. Okay, now the lighting really took a turn for the worse here. Now the lighting sucks. I might have to turn on this other light here for the next video, but hopefully it gets better. It's because the sun is playing tricks on me today, freaking bastard sun. Anyway, so Wikipedia over the years has received a lot of praise, you know, for its different elements, you know, like its enablement of the democratization of knowledge, which is basically the acquisition and the spread of knowledge, you know, in the public domain, making it accessible to everybody and not just, you know, academics or clergy, private investors, you know. So everybody can access Wikipedia and use it at a moment's notice, you know. The extent of coverage and the information, you know, the unique structure, the culture, all these things have garnered praise toward this website, you know. There is also a reduced degree of commercial bias. However, there is criticism directed towards its systematic bias, you know, and particularly gender bias against women and other minorities as well, you know. So sometimes there are there's the improper conduct of information being handled, you know. There's also this ideological bias that they are alleged to have, you know. And fake news is a very rampant problem with Wikipedia sometimes, you know, because they're actually their coverage of controversial topics like things related to American politics when Donald Trump came to power, you know, and also the COVID pandemic especially, you know. These topics here kind of became taboo amongst the community, you know, because they actually have been censored a lot by world governments, you know, because sometimes specific pages of the entire website, because there was a propagation of fake news or very clearly biased articles being written, you know, to sort of, you know, show that they were towards or against a certain political party or this global phenomenon going on, you know, something of the sort. And it would actually... Facebook and YouTube would actually go on to announce that they would help users to detect fake news by suggesting, you know, fact-checking links that would route them to the Wikipedia website, you know. And despite this, you know, it's still a very popular website. Articles on breaking news were very often accessed, you know, as a source of frequently updated information. So they would always be updated and stay, you know, like woke and fresh and giving you real-time updates about things that were going on. But still, in certain aspects, Wikipedia wasn't too reliable because their information would always be very biased towards their own opinions, you know, or the people who work there, those who edit them, you know, or sometimes they would give you just one particular side of a story, you know, without giving you the proper information about the whole context. So this here would actually make Wikipedia become somewhat unreliable, you know. There are a few other things here as well, and policies and the laws, the things that they do, you know. There are a few restrictions also, but I don't think I'm going to be, you know, talking about that. But right here it says that, you know, as a key resource for disseminating information related to the COVID-19 pandemic, the World Health Organization actually partnered with Wikipedia to help combat the spread of misinformation. So despite there being a controversy regarding fake news and spreading false information, they did try to, you know, kind of bend that to some degree to make themselves sort of they kind of tried to backtrack on themselves, you know, and address the issue. And today I think that they actually have a pretty good source of information relating to topics that are a little more, you know, let's say harder to address, you know. And me personally, I don't think I've ever seen anything that would suggest that they spread something that is rampantly false or very detrimental to the public knowledge, you know. I have always relied on Wikipedia, and I still do today. There are times when I have Wikipedia literally open on my tablet here, you know, to give you guys information while I'm recording. You know, sometimes I pull from Wikipedia to make a script, you know, and make a little cheat sheet, but sometimes I do keep it open just for reference, you know. And it's actually kind of funny because right now, as I'm recording this video, I'm gonna try to show you guys here. I literally have, I'm not joking at all, I'm not exaggerating, I literally have the Wikipedia page open on Wikipedia here. Oh, what the hell? What the, no, what is that? What happened? I have the Wikipedia page here open, you know, on the tablet here. If I can, maybe if I reduce the light, it'll look better. I have the Wikipedia page open on my tablet, you know, Wikipedia on Wikipedia, just to give myself a little point of reference in case I forget something, you know. But this is where my script for this video comes from. So even for this, I consider it to be a very reliable source of information ever since high school, man. I have never stopped using Wikipedia, and I'm kind of proud to see how this website has grown over the years, you know? The thing that I personally find the most impressive about Wikipedia is the sheer amount of information related to history, which is kind of the history and sports are the things that I most research because I'm really fascinated by how much information there is, you know. Like if you're a student, you know, and you're writing a book report about maybe the world wars or something, or other historical events in history, Wikipedia has definitely got you covered, you know. Because if you need to write a book report, let's say, or maybe write a thesis about World War I or II, dude, there is so much information there. It's not even funny, man. And they go into a lot of detailed, very unbiased detail, you know, which I think is really impressive. So anything, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, anything associated with that, terrorist attacks, you know, the September 11th terrorist attacks I think is one of the most detailed articles in English in Wikipedia, because they have a lot of different sub articles, you know, which is called the portal. So you can go there and access different information. The same thing with athletes, you know, and other historical events. So I actually think it's very trustworthy in this department here, you know. And the amount of information there, cultures as well, you know, you can research a country and see just how many portals there are, you know, related to the culture itself, the cuisines, the people, the traditions, you know, the geography, you know. Wikipedia is an amazing source of detailed info, man, you know, and there's so much stuff there. You can literally spend an entire day reading things there and you'll never run out of information to read, you know. We're talking about over 6 million articles, dude. So I personally think it's very trustworthy, it's very impressive, you know. So the very simple fact that it gets so much hate is just, you know, enamoring, you know. Talking about movies, research a movie that you like or a TV show, look at the reception, the plot, you know, the production behind it, the release, the marketing, the reception, you know. There's just so much detail, man, you know. Actors, you know, athletes, things like that. There's just such a plethora of info there. And I have a hard time understanding why people can see this as a bad thing, you know, because you're not gonna go, if you go on Google to try to research one of these topics, the first thing that's going to show up is the Wikipedia page corresponding to it, you know. So I mean, if you don't want to read Wikipedia, that's on you, man, but you cannot deny that there is so much good information there, you know. It's just crazy, man, how much they can cram in, you know, and how much traffic from the internet is directed towards this website because of this, you know. So to me, it's very impressive. You know, so much information, man, so crazy, different time periods in history, which I love. So to me, it definitely gets an A+ in this department here. And my teachers back in high school said that we could not use Wikipedia as a source, which was really unfair, you know, but still, man, I always used it and I always will. So yeah. just in case it wasn't already obvious, you know, the term itself, Wikipedia, comes from a blend of wiki and encyclopedia, you know, which is actually very creative, you know, and at the time, you know, back when it was still in the early days, maybe it came off as a little cringy, but today it's very synonymous with the website itself and free information, you know. And throughout the early days, it did garner criticism for its unreliability, but it has improved a lot more over the years, you know. And today, despite the controversy, you know, related to this before, today they actually fight very hard to combat fake news, you know, and try to keep the website as updated as possible, as best as they can. I actually saw this at work, you know, recently, because I was looking at the Tom Brady Wikipedia page to come up with a script to do my video last year when I talked about him, you know. And it's funny because he had announced his retirement, and the Wikipedia page built on that. They wrote that in, but then after he announced his unretirement, he came back to playing football. Then they actually scrambled there to give the proper information, which they did, and it was like a little short paragraph, you know. It's like I think the editors were really pissed at this, you know. They had to go back and redo the whole thing because now he announced the retirement. Now he was going to not retire, so it must have been pretty frustrating. But yeah, guys, I think that's essentially it, you know. The history of Wikipedia, the impact on the internet, you know, and how popular it was in the 2010s and 2020s now, you know, but especially in that decade between 2010 and 2020, you know, has made it the single most popular site in the world for information specifically, you know. And I personally think it's very trustworthy and reliable. I have friends who give me crap because I use Wikipedia as a reference in our conversations, our debates, our arguments. And dude, I mean, if you feel like you are smarter than Wikipedia, or you are too smart to use Wikipedia, then hey, that's on you. I think you're an idiot. You know, even if you're a friend of mine, I think you're just dumb, because honestly, you are, like I said earlier, you are like you're depriving yourself of very, very useful information, you know, that can be used to, well, essentially do whatever the hell you want. You know, in my case, make YouTube videos or just research things that I enjoy, you know, to pass the time and that kind of stuff. Sometimes I spend hours, you know, just browsing Wikipedia on my PC or my tablet while I have some coffee or tea, you know. It feels good to learn stuff, you know. So I think that's essentially it, you know. It wasn't going to be too long of a video. It's a concept vlog, you know, where I just talk to you guys, not a lot of editing, you know, photos or videos. But I'm very curious to hear about you guys, you know, what your opinion is about this website here and what you personally think about it. Hopefully your opinion is positive, and if it's not, that's cool. It's your opinion. You have the right to it, you know, as I have the right to mine. So let's just hope that we can have a very healthy debate in the comments here without, you know, talking smack to each other, and it's all good. Don't think there's any much more I can say. Actually, there is, you know. Right now, the combined language editions on Wikipedia have more than 58 million articles in total with all of their languages, you know, which attracts around 2 billion unique device visits, you know, per month, and more than 17 million edits per month. Okay, so that's a lot of people working around the clock to edit, which is about 1.9 edits every single second, you know, so that's really impressive. So yes, the biggest and perhaps most important encyclopedia in the world, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I gave you some good information that you can use, you know, and the video came out okay, even though the lighting was kind of oscillating because of the damn sun and the clouds, but it's all good, guys. If you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, might as well hit the notification bell to know exactly what time I upload. And check the description of this video because I'm going to be including a link to the Wikipedia article on Wikipedia so you guys can read more about it later. I think it's really interesting. So yes, this is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.